When you drive up I-94 and you come to exit 143, the first Tomah exit, you have got to stop at Humbird Cheese. And when I build my dream house, remind me to put in a walk-in cheese room. Humbird Cheese has 80 varieties of Wisconsin cheese. And when you've got that much cheese around, it's going to go to your head. Colleen, can I have some of this 22-year-old cheddar? Thank you. My brother has some 22-year-old mayonnaise at home in his refrigerator. This is going to be great with. That's good cheese.
That man has no dignity. It's a good thing we have Bobby Gerald, though. He would never stoop to such cheesy material. Right, Bobby?
There's no question about it, Steve. I tell you, Tim Wilson will do anything to get a laugh. Now, everyone who watches TNN knows that I'm just a little bit more conservative, and you will never, ever see any cheesy comedy bits from me, Bob Gerald. Let's go pulling.
Oh, his father will be so proud. Oh, my Lord. Well, Rosalind Knox is going to be our next puller, and on the circuit, she's known as the country girl. And although Rosalind is one of the most successful tractor pullers in competition, at heart, she truly is a country girl. She's had a lot of firsts.
I was a wife and a mother before I ever started drag racing or tractor pulling. I love being at home and baking bread and quilting. That satisfies the domestic part of me, but I really like the excitement of the tractor pulling and racing, and that satisfies the adventurous part of me. Our business is right at home. Our garage is right next to our home, so when we go to work in the morning, we walk out about 30 feet and unlock the shop door and go to work, and it's really great. And it's great also that we're a family and we work together. Everyone does a certain job, and that works really well because we all know each other so well, and it just sort of meshes together. My husband John and my son Brian and in the shop, and our other son Daniel, who is a musician, a full-time musician, who's worked very hard at his craft as well, and we're very proud of what he does. Our tractor pulling competition was a hobby at first. We started that in 1980. And it gradually grew into a full-time business for us. We started the engine business in 1990, and from then on, it's just grown.
It takes the efforts of the entire Knox family, Rosalind, John, Brian, and even son Dan, to really make their engines sing.
Hey, you guys, are you ready to tune these engines?
We sure are.
Yeah, have you got the tone?
Well, right now, Rosalind Dan is ready to rock and roll for real. 4 500 cubic inch Dodge Hemis. Her son Brian may be the most knowledgeable tuner out here. Let's watch. Well, control was Rosalind's biggest problem.
I'll tell you what, that was a great job of driving there. Brian is a real good tuner, but Mom showed what she could do right there. You could see the butterflies opening and closing. She really had good throttle control.
And I'm surprised she got that out of shape because they use a 4-link motor mount setup that is supposed to eliminate that torque steer that she's going through right now.
That's right. We talked to them about that earlier today, and they set those engines up to kind of tilt to one side to compensate for that right torque. But here it seemed to get a little bit out of control. They might be making more power than they think.
All right, here's the official numbers, 297.2 feet. And let me tell you that 3 tractors, the 3 that pull the furthest, regardless of whether or not it's a full pull, will make a pull-off tonight. So Rosalind now is number 2 in that pull-off. You can tell her that in person, Bob Gerald.
Well, Rosalind Knox is getting ready to come down here to us, and we'll be able to get a word with her in just a second as she climbs out of the country girl. And a fantastic job she did there. Rosalind, nice job of driving, because I know it was all over the track down there.
Yeah, it's a really
really fighting track, and it really got hooked in hard. And when it does that, sometimes it's hard to handle. But I think the tractor ran real well, and I'm real happy with the results of it. Hopefully, there's 5 tractors left, so I hope it gets us in the pull-off.
She's going to be one that's going to be down here waiting. Now, Rosalind Knox is the first woman to ever win a Grand National modified title or in the modified division. Tim Wilson?
Hey, you think I'll do anything for a laugh? I'm about to give you my first physics lecture. If you're sitting at home wondering what these monster machines are pulling, this is the sled. This is the weight box. This whole sled is driven by the back tire. The ground tire drives the weight box up through this gear doohickey up through here with all these chains. Comes over on top of the skid pad, which is the sled section, bringing all the weight up here to the sled section, right here. Back there, it's 100% of what's pulling it. When it gets up here, you're talking about 6 times the amount of weight that it started out back there. Now, for you folks at home who don't understand a word I just said, that deal right there is real heavy, and it's going to come up this bicycle chain thing over these rails, land on top of this skid pad sled thing, and it's going to be real, real heavy. That's my physics lecture.
I think he flunked physics. Well, folks, remember, still to come the hottest thing in pulling, and that's the big rigs, over 4,000 horsepower. You'll see Dodges, you'll see Kenworths, you'll see all kinds of makes and models. You truckers ought to really get into this. It's coming. Wisconsin area, you will find some Amish farmers working their land as their predecessors have done for generations. And don't you wonder, Dan, if the horses aren't saying, when's he going to get a tractor? The other says, about the time he starts watching TNN. We are back at the NTPA Dairyland Super Nationals, the #1 tractor pull in all the world. The stands are filling up, even though it's still bright and sunny, only about 7:25 here Central Time. And coming up will be our next tractor, and this is one that captured your imagination, Pastor Eni, instantly.
It really did. We were looking at that earlier today, and Dave Walsh has really done a great job in manufacturing this tractor. It should be a showpiece and not being competitive.
The machine work, the spit, the polish, the attention to detail on everything from the throttle handles to those exhaust stacks, unbelievable.
Look at the weights in the front. They even match the paint job. That's a pretty detailed thing.
This is the first competitive pull ever for the Irish Challengers. Our on-sled cam. Tim Wilson forgot to mention that. Distance to beat is 300.1 feet, but to get into the pull-up, well, about anything he runs right now will get him into the pull-up. Let's see what happens.
I think he ran this thing last night and tested it, and they got a full pull out of it, so they should have a good run here.
Remember what Dan said earlier. With the turbines, it's like an on and off switch. That power hits, and you're stuck with it.
They're dealing with tremendous horsepower right here. Tremendous horsepower. Where the other engines, the other tractors with the V8s, they rely a little bit more on the torque and controlling the torque, whereas these engines spool up, develop a tremendous amount of horsepower, and then they cut them on.
And a certain amount of thrust comes out of those exhausts, which helps keep that tractor glued down to the pavement.
I wonder if he's having a problem starting it down there. It looks like only one of the engines is running, the one on the right there.
Unlike the automotive-powered tractors, these have there's a starter for each turbine attached, and they use giant batteries in like a dolly.
He's spooling up now.
Yeah.
Here he goes.
Does he have the balance?
Looks like a real good pull so far. He's real straight.
But I think he's running out of steam.
Yeah. I don't think he had all of his engines working there. It looked like one of them was dying on it.
This could be some new tractor blues for the grain farmer.
Well, it's tough. You know, anytime you bring a new rig like that in and it's relatively untested, you're going to have some headaches, and you just got to work through them.
But when he unloaded this yesterday, he scared the heck out of every other competitor. They told us that may well be the finest, most powerful tractor ever built.
It definitely, the craftsmanship on that is something to be very proud of.
Let's have another look at this, and I think it was simply not enough power. We'll find out from Dave a little later on. But the distance officially is only 246.2 feet, and I doubt very much that that's going to make the top 3 for a pull-up.
I think he was in trouble from the get-go, Steve. I don't think he had full power of all 3 engines, and it's just kind of sluggish coming out of the bottom there, and it's not really getting a hard bite on the track.
Yeah, just very lethargic.